All right, we are live now.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello,
everybody.
Hello.
We got Aussie True Crime. We got Van. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Catalin. Tammy Ayo. That's a fun name to say, Chrissy. Say Ayo.
I like that. Tammy Ayo. I like that. That's good in the club when you're dancing.
Yes.
With the music going.
Like, just picture yourself, like, just super pissed off, and then you see Tammy Ayo come in the room. Like, you cannot
That's
say her
awesome.
name and be angry.
You can't. That's an awesome name. I love it.
Hey, Dalen. Hey, Mary. Julie. Hey, Dave G. West Haven.
Hey. Hello, everybody.
Brittany, Vincina, Missy. Hello, everyone. I'm gonna give it a minute, and then I'm gonna Hey, Eric. I've got some rules I want to give to my spinners. Hey, Debbie. Yes, Tammy Ayo, you make everyone happy.
I see everybody. Hello.
We're gonna do, I think if people come in being idiots, like, we'll do a timeout right away. I think that's what I put in the description. And then if they're gonna come back and continue being idiots, we're just gonna block them. If they come in here, like, whatever they say, calling her lips or whatever, I've seen her being called a tranny in the last couple weeks here, all of these disgusting things from other women. So
Yes.
it's just not going to be tolerated from the beginning.
If I were to go to prison, would it go to a female or male prison? Yeah. There's been a lot of good comments out there.
Hey, Cotton Candy.
I'm right here, Missy.
Hey, Pepperly. He's here. We're sharing a screen. There he goes.
Hello.
Okay, so yeah, that's what we'll do to the mods. We're gonna just get them out right away, so we don't have to deal with that. Yep. Mama's like, I'm turning off the camera.
Well, you waved at me. I waved back.
Okay, I'm gonna pin that in a minute. So. Hey, Emma.
Brandy.
Hey, Brandy. Hey, Missy. Welcome to the crazy train, Brandy. Woo woo. Woohoo! When people speak against your looks, it's because they can't say anything bad about your character, and your character matters, not looks. Yes. Okay, so I guess right away I'll start off, and I will repeat this. Everyone wants to see Chrissy's credentials. We were getting that hours before this crap even started, and I've seen it a million times. I have seen her credentials, so I mean, we sure can show them, but if Christa wants to, we will post them in the Facebook group, because to me, that doesn't matter, but I do have them on my phone, and I have seen them, and I absolutely will post them in the Facebook group if Christa wants me to.
I'm totally cool with that. Yep.
And so I will. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
So I will post those in the Facebook group later for you guys to take a look at. To me, it doesn't matter. It's not relevant into her involvement with Chris Watts or Dylan or anything that we're discussing. So she had never claimed to diagnose Chris Watts or work with Chris Watts at all or use her license in that way. So to me, it's irrelevant. I will post credentials to suit other people's fancies, but yeah, that's that.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of really is irrelevant. I mean, I don't really get. I mean, would it even matter if she never worked a day in her life? I mean, that's
Right,
not what she's talking about. I don't get that.
But
whatever.
Thank you.
Yeah, and not only that, but let's just say that if a production and and a production crew and all of those people, they should have done their due diligence in vetting as well. And remember, they put that on there. So,
and they did an
yeah.
extensive background search, credentials, everything. They wouldn't just let anybody come onto their show.
Yeah.
They
So
did a lot of research.
yeah. So for me and my channel, and she has been willing to show everything, including like school, the school, whatchamacallit, loans that she still owes, student loans,
Yep.
whatever, for all of her stuff. I've seen her certificates. Mr. Cher has seen her certificates. And so, I mean, yeah, I will post them in the Facebook group after this for you guys to take a look at. But again, to me, it's not relevant in anything to do with her being in touch with Chris Watts or Dylan or any of that. So,
Hey,
And
Tammy,
like,
bye.
and
Tammy,
Cher, like
we
you
love you.
said, I didn't, my involvement with Chris was not to diagnose him, to work with him clinically. It wasn't to use my profession with him. So I
Right.
just want to get that on the table, like you
And
said,
you
right
haven't been
away.
practicing psychology since 2015, you said.
Yeah, I stopped. Once I had my lupus diagnosis, I stopped practicing. Yeah.
So, hey, Hope for Peace, thank you. We love you.
Oh,
Just so you guys know, when whoever super chats tonight, I will be sharing that with Christa. So, or Christa, Chrissy, Christa.
I love you, Cher. You're the best. Thank you.
And then in the description, I have Chrissy's pay, or not PayPal, sorry, her Cash App in there also. If you guys want to send her a little something, it's in the description.
Thanks, love.
Hope for Peace is awesome. Thank you, Catalin. Yeah, it's just not. So I guess we will just start. And where I want to start is basically what Lifetime left out. So first, I want to know your introduction with even knowing the name Chris Watts. How did that come about for you?
Okay. The way I found out about the case, my mother, who's no longer with us, she was a huge advocate and a fan of another creator, which we know who she was a fan of. And she had me watch his show. And
you
she
can say it, Armchair.
I could,
He's
okay.
a friend of the channel. Yeah.
And Alan is a good friend of mine. Yes, and she had me watch Armchair Detective, and I started watching the show, and that was the way I got introduced to the case in the beginning. And then once I got into that, I was watching the show and learning more about it, but I didn't see it on the news when it was happening. It was months and months later afterwards. So that's how I got introduced by it from my mom.
Okay. Oh, Hope for Peace. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
You are awesome.
That's so sweet.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, already people are starting off good in the chats, being kind anyways.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just started, but so okay, so she was a fan of Armchair Detective, and then so how long went by? So did you started watching with your mom, or you want to get a little more into that then and meeting, like, let's start from the meeting. So then your mom told you about Armchair Detective, Alan, and so then how did that go about you then getting in touch with Alan and working with him from there? And how long, like, after you kind of found his channel with your mom?
Okay. Yeah. She had me, I was watching the show a few times after she introduced me to it. And then one night he was on the show and he was talking about something about child abuse and things in America and the system with children. And I wrote in comments in the comment section saying that I was a psychologist in America, and how the system, the DCF system, it doesn't help the families. If anything, they hurt the children more. And he asked me to come on that night. Would I be willing to come on and talk live? And that was the first time I ever went on his show. I was wearing an orange Virginia Tech sweatshirt, no makeup. Everybody says it was a prison jumpsuit, but it wasn't. But I was in my living room with my dog, and I went on the show and I talked about what I felt the system was like, and he asked what my experience was, and I expressed that. And then he asked some questions about the case, and I told him how I was just learning about it. And in the beginning, I have to say, I wasn't at that point, the very first time on his show, I wasn't 100% knew a lot about the case. So immediately I took that view, like, oh my God, Chris Watts is I used the word, he's a monster. I can't believe this. But then after I watched the show and I learned more about the cases, and I went onto other sites and I investigated and kind of learned for myself and formed my own opinion, I changed my opinion completely. And then I was on Alan's show a few other times after that. He talked to me about lupus, other things that just had to do with my diagnosis, my career, with the differences of what was going on, what my thoughts were of the case. And then there was a one turning factor in the show and this is what caused me to write to Chris. And it goes back to something that happened in my life when I was younger. When I saw that, and I have empathy for both families and sympathy for both families. I'm not blaming anything, but when I saw that the Watts family were not looked at as victims and that people were bullying them and were saying awful things about them and harassing them, that really affected me, and it hit close to home. And that was something that I endured when I was 9 years old, when something happened in my life personally with my dad. And I don't mind sharing that after. And that's when I went on Alan's show and I talked about how they're victims too. They lost their family too. It's not just one family, it's both families. Yes, it's in different ways how people want to interpret it, but the way they were being harassed and bullied, that really hit home for me. And that was one of the main reasons I decided to write to Chris.
And
that was the turning point.
You sent Mr. Scher and I that first letter, and Mr. Scher read it. He didn't think it sounded flirty whatsoever. Neither did I really. And
thank you.
Fangirl. Well,
it was obviously you were trying to find things like
could find in common with him
and stuff like that. But
yeah,
what else are you going to say when you write a letter? I think everybody would do that.
I wanted to introduce myself to him. It was a 3-page letter. It wasn't anything crazy. I introduced who I was. I said what I did for work. I said where I was from. I gave a little snippet of, who I was. I even said in the letter, I'm not gonna ask you questions about your case or what's going on. But what I included in there was, I said, if you want to write back, I would love to talk to you because I would like to share with you what I went through back in the 80s with my dad when there was no social media, and how something that my dad made a choice to do, how my mother and our family were victimized and bullied so bad, and there was no social media back then, and how harassed we were, that we weren't looked at as victims. We were looked at as the bad guys, and it was my dad's fault, and all of us were blamed. And I wanted to just get that out there to him, that there were people that support him and believe that, because I truly believe, and I have to say my beliefs, I believe that Chris is innocent. I'm sorry. That is my belief. I do believe that, and I support the Watts family, and I have nothing but love and respect for Cindy and Ronnie and Jamie, and they're a wonderful family. And when I saw that they were being harassed the way they were, that was the intention to write the letter, and that's what I wrote in there. And I said to him, if you are willing to write back, I'll explain to you what happened. I gave him a little snippet of, what I endured. And I told him, just don't give up hope. There are people that are out there that will help you. Don't give up. The truth will come out. If you get the truth out, it will help both families heal and move on. And that was the main intention of the letter. Of course, I wrote in there, asking questions. What's your favorite car? He loved cars. I told him how I just fixed the brakes on my dad's truck and blew the clutch master cylinder. We had to fix it how many times and things like that. It's just common, regular talk. It's just something that I was talking about. And it was nothing. I didn't offer any clinical services. I didn't say I'm here to diagnose you. I've never worked with him. I've never met him in person. I have spoken to him on the phone. that was it. No clinical. I didn't work at Dodge. I was never in
Right.
Wisconsin. So I
That's
just
what
want to
I was
make that
saying.
clear.
Yeah, you never went around saying any of that, so I don't understand. I can't get on the same planet as the people like, well, her credentials. Well, guess what? It's irrelevant either way. Even if you had him or didn't have him, it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with you talking to him. And
Right.
is Johnny Gotti 43? Is that Johnny? Johnny?
That's
Hey,
my
Johnny.
fiance.
And Leather and Lace is in here. Long time no see. We love you. She's driving, so she can't type. And Kelly, yeah, that's your opinion, and that's okay. Chris being innocent or not isn't really even relevant to this show. It's about Chris getting her. I want to call you Chrissy. What do you
You can,
prefer to go by?
oh, anything. Chrissy's easy because sometimes a lot
Don't
of
say
times
that. You know what they'll
people,
say.
yeah, you could say Chrissy because sometimes people will say Christina or Crystal and it gets confusing. So Chrissy, I just figure is my family always called me Chrissy. It was always my nickname.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
more about Chrissy having her say, unmanipulated by media and shady editors and all of that in production. So that's
yeah.
why we're starting at the beginning here, and getting her story from the beginning and from her way, not
Right.
here, say this for me because I need views or whatever. Like, no, sorry.
Right.
Okay. So then I just want to say it's said that you wrote that first letter and then you sent that picture of you, which is
Yep.
only a 2-year-old picture. So everyone's saying she's sending way, way, way old pictures. It's only 2 years old, and who stinking cares? She sent the picture she felt like sending. End of story. Okay. So again, irrelevant what picture she sent. I kind of your ex, and we'll get into that, Dylan. I see him more because people, they want to have it both ways, right? They want to say Chris is such a pussy and blah blah blah, and that's honestly what I do think. I think he's a pushover. I think he's a pussy, but I think he's easily manipulated.
I
And
agree.
I think Dylan, who basically grew up in prisons and doing this, he knows how to hustle,
A
and
master manipulator. Yes.
master manipulator, a hustler, that's what they do. And so I feel like he had saw that letter or whatever, and that Dylan had said, hey, like, we can use her or whatever, and decided to write you. I do not believe the sticky bun story. And even that other, what's that David guy's name, had even said, like, no.
David Carter.
Yeah, David Carter.
He said he was in the day room the day my letter came in. And what I was told by Chris and Dylan was that Chris read the letter and passed it to Dylan and said, God told me to give this to you. And then Dylan wrote it to me. What David said, he said that he was in the day room at that time and Chris and Dylan were sitting at the table going through the letters, and Dylan was like, oh, I'll take this one, and whatever they talked about, and gave the letter, took it, and ended up writing to me. And I do believe that I do believe that it was a manipulation more on his end than anyone's.
So you wrote that letter, and then so tell us then, let's bring us back to the day where you got a response to that first letter. What were you doing? How did that go about in your day?
So I only wrote one letter to Chris. I only wrote once because I figured if he wasn't going to write back, I wasn't going to write again. It was just a one-time, time I was going to try. If not, then I was just going to let it go and move on. About a week and a half later, I received a letter from Dylan introducing himself as Chris's brother in spirit, that he was his cell, the door, they have a next door to each other in their cells. They talked through the outlet. He talked about why Chris didn't write back, that he had a girlfriend. And in the letter I wrote back, I made it clear that I wasn't interested in Chris as dating or a fangirl or anything in that way. I was just wanting to talk to him about helping him and explaining things, kind of what's going on the outside and how I could help him and his family. So I got the letter from Dylan. He explained his situation, told me a bit about himself, answered the questions that I wrote for Chris, and then I wrote back to Dylan. And I was like, okay, that's fine. If Chris doesn't want to write back to me, it's not a problem. And it wasn't an issue. And then Dylan and I started writing back and forth to one another. And that's how that started in that way.
Thank you, Pepper Lee. You are awesome.
Well, I know that you took, I know that you, Christa, because I seen the receipts, you sent them to me, where you took care of Dylan.
Yes.
I mean, you took care of him. You sent him money and bought him things in store. So I know you took care of him.
I
Not
did.
just Dylan, not just Dylan, multiple inmates that we're discussing, you helped with money.
Yes. When Dylan asked me, I sent him, he would need clothes, he would need stamps, whether I had to get documents from the police department or the attorneys, I would pay for all of that. I sent him over. One time it was a $300 on his books, another $300 on his books. He asked me to send Chris $100 on his books. I sent David Carter $40, and a couple other inmates, because Dylan couldn't have money in his commissary because he was on appeal hold and he owed money. So he would have me send it to other people, and then he would be able to get the money that way. So I spent, and plus, of course, using IC Solutions for phone calls, everything totaled up over between, he needed thermo shirts, whatever. And at the time we were dating, we were together. We thought we were going to have a future together at the time. Of course, you're going to do, what you can to help somebody that you're with. So I did whatever I could to help them. And it was well over probably about $4,000 between phone calls, between letters, like clothing, hats, food, whatever it was.
And you guys, that's what inmates need. Like prisoners, that's what they need. And so they absolutely do hustle people on the outside like that. And when they see a pretty girl writing in, like, I'm sorry, but I definitely feel like Dylan made his move on that. He is.
Yeah, I think so now. Yeah, absolutely. At the time, I didn't see it because I was like, oh, okay, I was all excited, and it was kind of like a new love thing in that honeymoon phase. And, you're writing and you're excited. And I know people are saying, oh, well, why is she writing to a criminal or people in prison? Well, the kind of person that I am, I wasn't raised in a typical family. I was raised by two very young hippies who were very out of the box. And I had a very eccentric, different, unique upbringing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I honestly think that you owe an explanation for that, because I write prisoners. I mean, we're in true crime, first of all. Everyone that is judging you for that, we are in true crime. We do nothing but talk about prisoners and that, and reach out to them. So they're just
Oh yeah,
just so judgmental.
Mainstream media actually goes to the prison and sits down and has interviews with them. So I mean, a letter is, that's part of what we do. I mean, that's journalism. That's what we do.
And I know from, like, when I said I worked in the prison, I saw when there were prisoners or inmates that were getting letters all the time, and then there were others that wouldn't get anything. And you could see the sadness when they don't have any contact with the outer world, and that does affect them emotionally and psychologically. It does. So I don't see why, out of all the people that have written to Chris, whether it was somebody he was dating or someone who wrote a book or whatever it was, I don't know why I'm the one that's condemned for writing to him. I have no idea why it's me, why I'm the target.
Amber, I'll ask that in a minute. Dalen was wondering, how long were you in contact with Dylan and writing for?
I want to say probably May until December. So May 2000 to December 2000. Everything went very, very fast. And
7 months.
Yes. And I have to say that in August, and this is where I think the vulnerability part happened on my end. In August is when, and everybody knows I was already legally separated from my ex-husband. So I was going through a divorce. That was something that was happening. I was very honest about that. At the time of my divorce, my mother unexpectedly passed away, and I found my mother deceased after 3 days. So when I found her, that I kind of just, lost it. And what Dylan said to me, and while I was crying and upset over that, he told me that I need to get over it and move on, that we had bigger and better things to worry about. And that was just something that just was really insensitive. And one thing I have to say, by that point in August, I was very close with Cindy, and she was the one that was the most comforting and helpful to me during the time of me losing my mom. And she and my mom and I would talk for hours on the phone, and I have so much respect and love for her. And I can't thank her enough for the help that she helped me with, just being there for me. She was one of the first people I called when I found my mom. Yep.
I am so sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Thank you. Yeah, she was my best friend. We were only 16 years apart, so we pretty much grew up together.
No, I've seen some nasty. That's like me and my daughter, 18 years.
Yeah.
Kind of grew up with her.
Yeah, it's a beautiful relationship. It's amazing. I love it. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Eric, you are awesome. Thank you. Glad you enjoy it. Hey, Emerald. You guys are being awesome and very respectful in the chat so far. I appreciate that. Because she gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, that's such a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Did you visit Dylan in person?
No, we weren't allowed to because of the COVID, but we were able to do Zoom calls, and we eventually had Zoom calls that we would do.
Hey, weirdo. I'd love to hear a bit about Christa's professional experiences working in prisons, etc. Perspectives.
My experiences?
Yes, she did, but that's not what tonight's show is about. So we'll get to that because she'll be on again. So we'll get to that.
Yep, I definitely will.
Okay, so let's backtrack just a little bit to where Lifetime was making a huge deal. Your mom was obsessed with Charles Manson and then met your dad or whatever, but they left a lot out. Like they really wanted to just make you seem like you were obsessed with serial killers and murderers or whatnot.
It was, I have to say the production company, they were very kind to us. At the time, my fiance now, he was my bodyguard officially. We weren't in a relationship. It was purely professional. The production company was great. They treated us wonderful, and they portrayed that the show would go in one direction. And of course, you always wonder if it's going to go in a different way. And it did. The things that we spoke about, it was 14 to 18 hours of taping, and I think the show had about maybe 4 or 5 minutes of what I spoke about, and the main gist of what I was trying to get out there did not get out there. There was so much that has been left out, and that's what frustrates me. So much was left out from the documentary, and that's what really, really gets to me bad.
Yeah. Well, they already had their narrative. And again, you didn't know Sherlyn Cato was supposed to be a part of that, did you?
I did not. No, they didn't tell me. They told me it was only going to be about myself, Dylan, and Chris. And the reason they reached out was out of nowhere. And I've sent Kim and Sherry, you've seen it, the receipts.
Yep.
Daily Mail reached out to me first. OK Magazine reached out to me. People Magazine. They found where I lived. I didn't reach out to anybody.
This is true. I've seen it. So just think about Daily Mail, UK, and all these tabloids reaching out to her. So clearly somebody was saying like, oh, this person's in contact, right? You need to get a hold of her or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everyone thought it was her running, but I can tell you and promise you it wasn't. Okay, Mama. She'll be back in a couple minutes.
Okay, I'll be right back. And I want to say that too. That is very true about Christa. I've got all of the emails, and they did contact her first. And actually, she tried to ignore several of them, and they continued with her. So I know that's true.
Yep.
Thank you. And yes, I am with a lucky man right now, I have to say. I am. I did hit the jackpot with that. yeah, they were coming to my house, and at the time, they didn't realize I didn't live at my old address because my house, we sold the house, we left for the divorce, so I got an apartment temporarily, and people were going to my old address, and then media was coming to my house. I would be walking my dog. There's people taking pictures. There's people all over. And my father is an ex-Green Beret in the U.S. Army, and he's very, very, and he's also an international convicted felon, which we could always get to that later. But my father is very on top of things, and he's like, what's going on? And then little by little, people were coming to the apartment, calling me, getting my email, sending stuff. And I'm like, where is this coming from? And that's how it all started. And then Lifetime saw that after Daily Mail and the whole article that was leaked with the Vaseline and the boxers and all that craziness. And my goal for that article was to try to prove that that's not what was going on. But again, when you're there and you're asking so many questions and taping, they edit it and cut it the way they want to make it look. And the truth doesn't come out. It just doesn't.
Lisa Avery. So in my opinion, people would have called Chrissy nuts for writing to a murderer in the first place, but saying her mom would have joined Manson or just added more fodder for the critics. And here's the thing, Lisa. I know she's shown me the screenshots of the text messages between her and the production people and everything. Also, they were filming for about, was it 18 hours?
14 to 18 hours. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that was not added in there. So they picked what they needed. So what's going to look better, that she's talking about her family, her upbringing, and talking about all of these things? Because I know by talking to her a few times a week we speak, and she speaks very highly of her father and her mother and that always. So that's what she was doing. But what they decided to do was only clip out those parts and use that, because that is better for TV. Oh my gosh, this girl wrote Chris Watts, America's Monster, and oh my gosh, her family was obsessed with Charles Manson, and her dad's a lookalike, like dead ringer to Charles Manson. That is what people want to see, because it goes along with their narrative that some weird, freaky fangirl wrote Chris.
Exactly.
But they left out all of this other stuff.
Left out the whole background. And my mom, when she met my dad, she was 15. My dad was 20. And back in the 70s, back then, things were completely different the way they are now. And at the time, people were saying, well, her mother's age and Manson was already in jail and this, but the ranch was still there. And that was my mother's choice. She was a hippie. She loved Alice Cooper. She loved Black Sabbath. She loved the Beatles. She was just really awesome and out there. And my dad was a musclehead, and he looks just like Charles Manson. And that's where she was planning on going, to live on the ranch with the people that were still there. That's just what she wanted to do. She was just very out there. And if she was alive right now, she would own it. And she had nothing to hide. And that's where I was raised by them, that just like, own your stuff. You have nothing to hide, and be who you are. And if people accept you, they will. And if they don't, then that's their issue. And that's just the way I am. So I was just honest with what was going on. And when my mom met my dad, she was like,
"Goodbye."
"Well, you look like Charles
really quick,
Manson."
Sorry, James Smith, you're out.
Yeah.
Goodbye. You're not even getting a timeout, since you wanted to write 3 nasty messages in a row. You read the description, I'm sure. So goodbye.
Dateless and desperate. Yeah, no, definitely not.
My friend Amber asked, how long did you guys last when he got out of prison?
Dylan?
Yeah, with Dylan. Yeah,
when Dylan and I separated, Dylan knew I was going to Lifetime. And at this point, he was already out of Dodge, and he was at WRC. He was on phone restriction. So he was using an inmate's email to email me. He was well aware that I was doing the show for Lifetime. And I've showed you the letters of him saying, make it Hollywood and all that stuff, which we could go into at another time. What the problem was is he was upset that I had John as a male bodyguard, but my father only hired the best and top notch for me. And since my dad's on the no-fly list, he couldn't come with me. So he hired the next best person. Dylan was upset that I had a male bodyguard. Why didn't I have a female? And people are questioning, why do you need a bodyguard? Well, a lot of, excuse my language, but a lot of SHIT went down, and it wasn't safe to go by myself. And it's still, at this time, with what's going on, it's not safe. So Dylan and I broke up in December because it became very violent and abusive on his end, and saying derogatory things. And I contacted his family to talk to them to try to calm him down, and he wasn't calm, and I wasn't going to take that abuse anymore. And he was saying that, you know, I'm making money off his name and doing all that stuff, and I wasn't. Lifetime contacted me. I went there. He agreed for me to go. I said, do you want me to do this? He wanted those books out there that he and Chris wrote. And that's what I did. And I was telling the story. And I also went in there to tell the story and to support the Watts family. That was my goal, was to support the Watts family, to tell my opinion on what I felt happened that night. I don't feel that Chris was alone. I feel other people were involved. That's my opinion. And those were the things that I spoke about. But no, when Dylan was released, we were already separated. We separated in December while I was in Dallas.
Yeah, he will claim it's because she was doing all this press and doing the documentary, but you guys, I've actually seen he was continuing to write her after that and saying how proud he was. And he kept saying, we're going to be Hollywood. We're going to be Hollywood. So Dylan was actually trying to sell Mr. Chris out while still behind bars and wanting Chrissy to sell certain parts of the book that Chris had wrote. And Johnny, I made you an honorary mod for tonight so you can help protect your girl if you want to boot anyone in there.
Did you hear? She made you a mod so you could boot anybody out if they say anything negative. So thank you. He's giving the thumbs up. Thank you.
Hey, Mary T. Yeah, they definitely did, didn't they, Amber? Calling them the thruple and all this BS.
Yeah, and one thing that makes me laugh is when Lifetime said that it's in my DNA for writing to criminals or true crime. I don't see what the difference is if I'm into true crime or anybody else is. I don't understand why it's an issue that true crime is something that I'm interested in. I don't get that.
No, it's not. There's no stigma attached to being into true crime. I mean, people love reality shows and people love comedies. People love true crime. Like, it is what it is.
Right. And I mean, I just feel as adults, I mean, people could agree to disagree and talk and just throw theories around if that's what people want to do and talk. But the hate that comes along with it, it's like it's either people take one side or the other, and that kind of has to stop. It's just not solving anything. It's just creating more problems.
Yeah, it's not helpful, but unfortunately the other family kind of, I feel like, wants it that way.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
But that's a whole nother story.
That's another show.
Yeah. I had a question and now I can't remember it. Mama, can you think of anything?
She's having mic issues.
And Weirdo. Oh yeah, that's right. Weirdo, I don't know why I would not take your wrench. If that happened, I'm gonna give it back in a minute. I'm sorry, because I would not do that to you. I took a lot of people's wrenches recently and I must have done that by accident.
Well said, David.
We should be able to still get along, agreement, disagreement. But you guys, I want to say, like, we're Hollywood, whatever. Amber just said it, like, no one knew your name until Chris Watts, even with his stupid book out. I had never heard of him until he was, in the same prison as Chris Watts. So his name is known now because of Chris Watts. So
exactly.
Make sure you thank him, Dylan. And,
exactly.
I mean, that should show you guys everything to how the manipulation went down and people thinking that, Chrissy did this and she's so nasty what she did to Dylan and Chris. Are you kidding me? Dylan jumped on that letter and saw someone he could hustle. and manipulate. And if you don't think other people were telling him, oh, Chris Watts, oh my God, you're gonna, like, you sell your stories, get close to him. If you don't think people do that, you're insane.
Right. And I was too stupid at the time, because everything going on in my life, I was too stupid to see what was, you know, right in front of me, where normally my head would be on a little straighter, but I didn't see it at the time. I was looking at it in a, you know, it's rose colored lenses or glasses, whatever they call it. But when the show said that there was an intimate triangle between us, there was no intimate triangle between anything. There was no sexual contact with Dylan and I, none of that, nothing with Chris.
Sent me numerous letters and everything. I haven't seen that evidence of that at all.
And even the one he sent me, he just recently sent me a letter in March of 2021, a few months ago. So if you hate me so much and you're saying all this stuff, why send a letter and, you know, still try to write to me? I have no hard feelings. You know, I wish him well. I hope things work out, but I don't want any contact, and I want no association, you know, with him at all, or what he's doing. And Chris and Dylan knew I had a connection with Alan on Armchair and had a platform. And that's where I said in Lifetime, where they didn't show that part, that I felt used by Chris. And I even said with Dylan that I felt used because, due to the fact that I had a platform, I was able to talk about the books that they wrote and got that out there, and their religion and how, you know, they changed. That's all that was out there. So that's where that manipulation, where they left parts out that, oh, she was used by Chris Watts. Well, how? Well, it was really, they knew I had a platform. And again, I think the master manipulator wasn't Chris. It was the other one involved. Yeah.
I believe
didn't
that
see
too.
it.
So there's a couple things like, well, you're not speaking to Chris Watts anymore, or the Watts family. She was, and I can tell you, because I've seen it and know, she was very cotton candy. I didn't see that super chat. I'm sorry. Thank you. What was I saying? Oh, that you had a very, very close relationship with Cindy specifically.
Yes.
And she really, like, cared for you, worried about you, always wanted to check in to make sure you were okay. So yeah.
Cindy and I were so close. I've spoken to her. I can't tell you how many hours we would talk on the phone. There were times she would be on speaker. Her, my mother, and I, we would talk about stuff. Cindy was a huge part of my life, and like I said, there's nothing bad I could say about the Watts family. I adore Cindy and Ronnie, Jamie. They've always been kind to me. They've never done anything disrespectful. And if there's anything I could ever do to help them and support them, I will always do that, because I was so close with her. So close with her. I adore her. I truly, truly adore her.
Yeah. And so right now they're not, with everything going on, the Watts kind of pushed a lot of people away and just stopped kind of, you know, touching base or whatever. With the documentary coming out, they got a little nervous, but I do, with knowing the relationship that Cindy had with Chrissy, I have also, the Watts know that I talk to them, and they have never told me, like, stay clear of her or anything like that. I do feel that, I feel it's important, and I'll just say it because I've told Ronnie and Cindy to be careful of Dylan. I don't like him. I think he is a hustler, master manipulator. And just to put this out there, because I don't think people really, like, see the Watts for how good of people they are. But when Dylan was released, they gave him a hefty sum of money to help him get on his feet. And he did go on Armchair Detective and say that, but the thing is, what he didn't say on Armchair Detective is that he then called Cindy and Ronnie and claimed that sum of money was stolen, so that he could get more. Okay, so
which is awful to do.
It's awful. It's awful. I don't like him. I don't trust him. The Watts are aware how I feel about him, and so it's. The Watts, you have to understand, Chris never got so much as a parking ticket, and the Watts have never had to go to court with their family, like their son or whatever. Like they were a deer in headlights. So they are easily manipulated, and they have really big hearts where they, they want to help. It's Chris's friend. It's an inmate. He was just a troubled kid. Let me help him. They don't know, but Dylan knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's just sick, 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 sick. Yeah, definitely, Dylan, definitely. They have a lot of trouble trusting. Oh, did we lose? There she is.
I'm back. It booted me off out of nowhere. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I'm so
it
sorry.
does that. I told you it'll do that.
Yeah. I apologize. I don't know what I missed. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like Dylan. He's got to get away from the Watts because, yeah, he's definitely manipulating, and I don't like to see that. I know what's happening, and unfortunately, the Watts are just that good at people that they think that they're helping, but
they're
Ronnie
very
Watts,
kind.
Very kind. Ronnie goes to work every single day except for Saturday and Sundays, and for all I know, he works some Saturdays too. He is a hard worker, even to this day. Every time I talk to him, pretty much he's at work. He can't afford to be doing that. Like I told Jamie, like, tell your parents not to give him any more money ever again. And she was like, they really can't, because if my dad ever wants to retire,
Right.
Let's see what we have here in questions.
Exactly. And can I clarify one thing with the whole book thing?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I was not holding those books for ransom. I had them in a safety deposit box. And Dylan was put a lawsuit against me at the time. He was suing me for his books or whatever. What I had to do, what took so long, was I had to get my name off the copyright because I didn't want to be associated with the books. They wrote the books. I only put 5 entries in. I took myself out of it completely. So it's just Chris and Dylan. I am no longer associated with those books that they're writing. So what took so long was for me to get the copyright, get my name off. I had to pay another $175 to get it out. I mean, there's so much money I had to put out to get a copyright, then put in lawyers, all that. So that's what took so long. And I have the receipt. I think I sent you to show you that it was sent back to him and he got his originals. I don't have any copies of it. I don't want anything to do with that. And I am no longer associated with that. So in those books, if they are published, nothing is associated with me at all. Nothing.
So I'm going to address that. Why is Chrissy's Cash App being shared? And it's because I wanted to share it, because I know that my friend Chrissy has struggled and needed the extra help, like a lot of us have. So it's just what I chose to do. I don't see the problem with it. And also because she's up here doing a show with me. So if I share my PayPal links, why should I not share her as well? And she uses Cash App over PayPal, so that's what I'm sharing.
Thanks, Cher. You're a sweetheart. I love you. You're the best. You and Mama Kim and Mr. Cher.
He said, yeah. 800 jeans. Yeah, babe, that's a lot of clothes he could have been buying.
Yeah, $800 jeans. Yep, I heard that.
They think they're wondering, Dalen saying, do you think that Chris will ever ever tell the truth?
And I have to say, I did speak to Chris several times on the phone. I have. That is true. I know Dylan says I haven't or whoever, but I have spoken to him. And I do feel that at some point, I do think he will. I have a feeling he definitely will, but it has to be at the right time. And I think he needs to get a certain individual out of his head so he could focus on his family and talking with them and processing that with them first for the truth to come out. But that individual he's still associating with, who he's, his brother in spirit, I think is putting, stuff in his head. But I do think the truth will come out. I do. He will.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks, Sonny. Thank you, Sonny. You are awesome. And yeah, again, any super chats from tonight also, I will be splitting with Mama Kim will be back. I will be also splitting with Chrissy. So
Thanks,
And
Cher.
who said that? I know you said not to be rude, but I do find it rude to even ask. Like, I didn't even see the point of that question, to be honest. So, if go out and come back, my mic is not working for some reason. Ah, mama. Oh, exactly, Johnny. That's why I'm glad she's doing this, because I know it's scary. But here's Mama. Hey, Mama.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Lord have mercy. I've been sitting over here just talking to you guys. I'm like, well, damn. Okay. All righty.
And Cher, the other question, and I wanted to just get your opinion too while we're out here. I've been very open about my lip fillers, so that's just something that I don't understand.
Again,
why
irrelevant.
that's an issue.
I don't know why people care so much, but if you want to address it, please do, because I think they're just jealous. You're gorgeous, so F them.
And what the hell is that about? Like, you actually got to pick on when someone has some work done? Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. I'm a beautician. I've got a cosmetology license, y'all.
Oh, I should come and have you. Mama Kim, I'm going to have you come and do my lips then, or I'm going to come to you and have you do it in my Botox.
Yeah, I mean, I got cosmetology, man. I've been working in a shop for many, many years. So, what the hell am I doing true crime? Where does that kick together? Hey, I'm pretty good at it, though. I think at my back,
Well, you look fantastic. You always look beautiful.
You're too sweet, girl. All right.
The truth, though.
Carry on. Carry on.
Just Stephanie.
Terrible over here.
But yes, I do get bashed for that, and I've been open about it. And so I'm 43, so I want to get my lips done. It's not hurting anybody. I'm not doing anything. I don't see what the problem is. But
no, they had to find something to pick on you. Yeah, exactly. If it's not that, it's why is your hair dark? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
One was why she flips her hair too much. Oh, there's been so many things. One person said they put my picture next to Caitlyn Jenner. I said, I wish I looked like Caitlyn Jenner. She has a beautiful body. I wish my body was like that. I would love a new set of boobs and a nice body. That was a compliment. If anything, they thought they were insulting me, but it was a compliment. I would love to be side by side with Caitlyn Jenner. It was a compliment to me.
Yeah, I don't see the big deal with that either. I mean, I would love to get Botox, right?
Oh, I mean, come on. It's the best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing what the issue with that is either. Yeah. I mean, lots of people do that. It don't make sense.
Hold on, Pauline, what's going on? I'm confused. Why be nasty, Emma? Why is Emma... I didn't see Emma being nasty. Let me just go back a minute. Emma's never nasty. AD is writing a book. Well, what can I say? That is just another book in the Watts case I won't be purchasing. Oh,
I believe there's a lot of people writing books right now.
There's a lot of people, yeah. There was something else.
Yeah, I'm looking through some of the comments.
And Bartwan, yes, she is aware of the book that Dylan wrote in 2012, 2013. And again, that didn't really do well until
it did
Chris
not
Watts.
do well. Yeah.
So, and I don't think it's still doing that great, but
it's not.
Kelly, do you want to come up here? I will put the link. Kelly's awesome. You'll love her.
Hey, Bartwan.
I don't know if you know her or not.
I don't know. I might have crossed paths, but I'm not sure.
She won't say it like this, but I will. But she was a little used and abused by the other family. So,
got you.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand completely.
But she still talks highly of them, so we just kind of ignore it. But yep, she's finally my friend again.
I'm not sure who your question's for, Heather. I don't think anybody knows the answer to that except Chris, but my opinion, they did.
What was the question? I missed it. Heather, did
the girls come home from the birthday party?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
I
believe so. I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't say, but from what I've spoken to Chris, they were there, is what I was told. Yeah.
Bartwin, you're funny.
Bartwin, is he in here? Hey, Bartwin. Yeah, he's awesome, man. I sit and just listen to him. His voice is so calming, man. They think mine is. Listen to him. Listen to Bartwin, man. He's so calming and relaxing, and he's so polite. Like,
what is the number
he's
one
awesome.
thing? What?
Bartwin's awesome. I'm just saying.
Bartwin. Okay, Kelly. I guess we love you anyway. Okay. Yeah, there's always someone stirring the BS pot, but we were ready for it. Chrissy was ready for it. We were like, come on, haters.
Oh yeah, we're ready. I already know that the hate we'll get from it, and the shows and the spoofs that will be made, and all the comments. Yeah, we're used to it. Because anybody that speaks the truth and is honest, you get bashed regardless. If you don't go along with what everybody is supposed to do, you're automatically you're already hated on. Which is disgusting.
I mean, there's something about you. If you speak, you're on a side. It's like it's like a damn losing battle on this. I mean, you can't ever say the right thing. There's no way in hell to please everybody.
No.
I mean, so the only thing I know to do is truth and facts. Because I ain't all about the theories. I do throw my opinion out there, but I will say it as my opinion.
But you do it very professionally. You've always done everything professional, Kim. Everything you've done is and Cher, you guys, you all have done it just very professionally. Never like other channels have done stuff at all.
I truly appreciate that. I really do.
Well, I mean, I'm new to trying it professionally. Thank Mr. Cher for that. Otherwise, I'm up here. F you. F you. F you. You're cool. F you.
No, I'm just reading the question. I always said Chris was in shock and not void of emotion with you. I do believe Chris was in shock, honestly, and I'm saying that in my own opinion. I do. I think he was in shock. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Because people are saying he was emotionless. And if you saw him in court, if you watch that, when they start to talk about how Bella fought back, you could see him start to tear up and his legs start shaking under the table. I mean, you could see the emotion in that courtroom at that moment. And you could tell he was holding back. You could tell he was holding back.
Do you think NK's still in contact with him? I'm going to say no, because she wouldn't risk her new name being out there. And also it's illegal. It's against all laws. And I think like all states, she is considered, I think, a victim of the crime. He's not allowed contact with her.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that someone in that prison would leak that like so fast, you're wrong. So I don't believe that. That's just stupidity. It's just another way for people to lie and have some content. I don't understand that, but to me, I mean, I don't know, common sense, people. She's not writing him in prison. She didn't go through all that hell and want to hide this long to write him in prison. No.
Yeah, I don't think they're in contact at all. I mean, I was told that a card was sent under a different name, but who knows if that's true 100% or not. But I don't think she would take the risk to do that. No. She stayed off the grid all the time.
Yeah, she's played way too damn hard to stay under, and to play low key. So I definitely, my opinion, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bart and I agree. I think he was in shock at sentencing. Absolutely.
Oh, of course, Jenny. We got her back.
Thanks,
people just want to be mean for so, like, it's, I don't know if it's fun for them. It must make them feel better. I don't know, because I've been...
People like to see other people get hurt.
Yes.
It's just human nature. We enjoy it. We laugh at people who fall back.
Yeah.
It makes us feel good. Like when you like to feel superior to other people. So when you see someone being insulted or hurt or whatever, you feel good about yourself because you feel better.
Right. Exactly, Mr. Scher. Exactly. And it's sad that people are still doing it and doing it at my age. I mean, I'm 43 and there's people my age doing it. I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous. It's like Mean Girls, the movie. It's crazy. It's just insane. And another thing I wanted to address is people were saying that we were making all this money off of Lifetime and Daily Mail.
Not true.
Not true. There is
I've seen
nothing.
the receipts, literally not true. Another reason why I'm sharing her Cash App.
Yeah, and nothing. It was literally.
I seen what she made, and I know how much that show got, and I seen how much she made, and let me tell you, it was nothing. And that's another thing, and just so you guys know, I've worked with production before, Jupiter Entertainment to be exact, with Rhonda, because they wanted to film a update on Rhonda when I was helping her for that 3 years. And what they normally do is prisoners, they got nothing but time and they want to be heard. They want to get their name out there and their, because maybe it'll help them, right? So they talk and do these documentaries that we all watch and sometimes have to pay for. These inmates and their families are doing this for free. Now, Rhonda had been on many, many, many things. Her family doing all these interviews for free until I come along and help. And I was like, oh, hell no, this is not happening. Rhonda cannot profit from it, but her son can. I can. Her dad can. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
So they were not happy when I came along saying, like, nope, Rhonda will not film unless I'm there. You have to pay for my hotel, my flights, all of that. Like, they don't like that. They literally trash these people and these families and put out their narrative, and these people don't get a penny. So the 2 pennies that I saw that Christa got is... I'm telling you, she got like nothing, and they were probably very salty with giving her the 2 pennies she got. So
very, very salty, very salty. The only thing that they did pay for was our flight and our hotel, which, it wasn't for first class or whatever it is, fancy schmancy. Trust me, it wasn't anything to brag about. It really wasn't. It wasn't. If anything, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I was actually shocked at how little you made. There's no way I would leave my home and go that far to do something I was asked to do for, like, seriously?
And we were stuck there for two or three days because we had the blizzard in Connecticut and we were stuck in Dallas. And what I made, John and I had to split that. So that's all. That was it. I mean, that's like a few $100s each. That's nothing. And people are thinking you're getting like, all these thousands and all this money. And no, that's not what's happening.
No, it's not what happens. These people go in and do this for free all the time, for free. These inmates are like, oh my God, I'm going to be on TV. So they're doing it for free. And then the families are like, oh my God, maybe my son or my daughter or my wife or husband is going to get some help. Their name's going to be out there. So I'm going to do this for free. You guys, it's very pathetic. That's what gets me so angry.
Yeah, and it also seems like they cut out. It also seems like they probably cut out the most important things you talked about, and they spliced it together with just irrelevant stuff. I mean, it's like, this is lame, We all waited on this to come out. Even I know you waited on it to come out, and it was like, what?
Yeah, Kim, they literally left out the most important stuff was why I wrote to Chris and why I was defending the Watts family and my relationship with Cindy and Ronnie and Jamie. That was the biggest piece of what I was trying to advocate for them and for the bullying and how the family are being victimized and all of that. And none of that was in there. And that made me so frustrated.
Yeah,
so frustrated.
I know it did. Debbie, it doesn't matter to anybody up here, I know, but the comments and the things that's been going around, she only did it for the money. She made bank on doing this. No, she didn't.
No.
That's the only reason we brought that up. Is kind of clarify that.
Yeah. And people even questioned if I was lying about my mom being dead. Just crazy things. Oh, she's doing it for attention. Her mother's still alive. And then there was somebody, I don't want to mention who it is, but it's somebody related to the case, not on the Watts side, that said they're glad my mother's dead. So it's one less Armchair Detective fan, which is disgusting to say about my mother. And especially after
that
the
was
person losing their family.
That about your mom?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. How can anybody sleep at night saying things like that? I mean, seriously, I couldn't even say that about somebody's animal. You know, that's, oh my God. I ain't even got nothing to say on that. I didn't even know that. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
I found that out like a couple of days ago when she showed me, and they said some other things too, and it was pretty brutal. And they talk about bashing women and dead children. Let me tell you, what I witnessed was disturbing, and I won't touch on the other part, Chrissy, but if you want to, you sure can.
Yeah, that makes me mad.
They actually, when I was in my 20s, and it's open information, I'm not ashamed to say, when I was in my 20s, I was pregnant and I lost my daughter at 6 months as stillborn. And somebody, again, the same person who was involved in the case, not on the Watts side, wrote that they're happy that my daughter's dead because God forbid they'd have a mother like me. She would have a mother like me.
Are you serious?
Serious?
It's probably a damn good thing you didn't send that to me.
And when you find out who it is, you're
I don't even have no words for that.
Don't they know who? Mama Kim will know who it is. It's.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Don't even tell me, because you know, I'm a grandma and a mama, and I'm very protective. That just burns me up. I've lost grandchildren to stillbirth.
I'm sorry.
That shit ain't funny.
I just want to say it now because
that shit ain't funny, man. That makes me mad.
It's a certain junior. I'll just say that a certain junior actually was saying.
What? Are you for real?
That was the person that said both
a junior. Yep.
About my mother.
Yep.
And my daughter.
Oh my God. What in the actual hell?
Yeah.
Hang on. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
Stephanie's comment. Yes, Lifetime, they did, the production company, they did say that they would promote me in a positive light and really get my background story out and, things of that nature. And when I saw the show, I was just shocked because I'm saying to myself, where is everything we filmed? We filmed 14, 18 hours. Where's everything we talked about? And the main part, I mean, it made me look like I was just another, Chris Watts fangirl groupie, and that wasn't what the point was. And I wanted to get my background story out with my dad for them to understand why I was writing to him and why I'm supporting his family and became close with them. And they left that out. And that's a huge piece of it. Huge piece of it. Oh, no, I could do it. It's okay, love. Thank you. We will.
Amber, there's certain things we aren't talking about, but there's just other certain things I think she felt more comfortable talking with girlfriends about right now. But she's been all over Alan's channel and everything.
Yeah, and Alan and I are still friends. He was always family to me. But Sharon and I and Kim, we've been talking, and a lot of stuff that was going on, especially when the quote unquote people are calling fake attack happened. It's easier to talk to women who, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound sexist or anything, but nothing against anybody. It's just easier to process that with women understand how sensitive that subject is. And that was another subject when people are calling a police department or they're calling a hospital trying to find stuff out about me. It's considered HIPAA. HIPAA is not going to, police department isn't going to say what's going on in HIPAA, or they're not going to talk about, they can't tell that.
Yeah, I've seen Dalen's question. I haven't been asking it because I just don't think it's relevant. She didn't know NK or any of that, so I don't know why we're asking her those questions. But I mean, if you want to answer them, Chrissy, you sure can.
What was the question? Was it
does Chrissy know anything about the occult NK is a part of?
I personally don't. I personally was raised, and this is something I talked about in the show, I was personally raised two ways. I was raised Roman Catholic on my dad's side, and I was raised Wiccan on my mom's side. So I had two religions growing up, but I don't know exactly what what they were a part of. There's so many different ways people could use. I'll just say the craft in general, whether you're pagan, Wiccan, regardless of what you take back from that. So there are people that do dark things, and I've seen it and witnessed it. I don't practice that part of it, but I don't know exactly what they were
really
involved
quick,
in.
Amber. You're fixated on the whole "Can she talk on Armchair?" We're not going to do that here. Armchair's a friend of this channel. We're friends. There's really nothing going on here. So I'd like you to just stop asking about it.
Yeah, I have nothing, problems with him.
Ignored.
He's family to me. Somebody made a comment.
She felt comfortable right now. That's all.
Someone made a comment about me having a drug problem. I don't have a drug problem with benzos, so I don't know where that comment came from, but I don't have a drug problem. I never have, and if I did, I'd be honest, and I don't have anything against anybody who does. So I don't know why somebody would throw that out there.
Oh, Stephanie.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Right, Lisa. Even if she didn't say it, we would have seen the picture and been like, "Oh my God, he looks like Charles Manson," right? So they really just did her dirty. They went in with a narrative, and actually, someone said, "Did you know Cheryl Cato was going to be a part of it?" You did not, right? So
no idea, and everybody always says my dad looks like Charles Manson. I mean, we've said it. My mom always called him Char from growing up. That was his nickname. And even people on the street, we'd be in stores and people like, everybody would ever tell you like Charles Manson. He's like, yeah, and they grew up in that era. So they were used to that. And my dad and I are only 20 years apart. My mom and I were only 16 years apart. We grew up together. We're they called us the Addams family. We were just really quirky, different, out of the box, really cool family. And I loved it. I wouldn't change it for anything.
I'm sorry you had to deal with that, Christa. I really am.
Thank you.
It's not okay. I mean, it's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, how can anybody say that, man? I mean, especially the source. You know what I'm saying?
Especially somebody the way that you lost somebody so tragically. Why would you want to hurt someone else in that way? That's disgusting. I would never, and I've never said one ever in any interview, and never would say any one bad thing about Shanann or her children or the family ever. I would never. I never have, and I never would.
No, I mean, two
not at all.
Right, but at the same time, I know you didn't, because I didn't know that. I had no clue.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah, it was. I have the screenshots of it in my phone. It was really.
I believe.
I mean, harsh.
I just. I have no words for that. I have none. So none that I need to say anyway.
Bartwan, I put the link in there if you want to join. You always have some good questions. Bartwan's awesome.
Yeah. I've never spoken with Cato. No, I haven't spoken with her. We've never spoken.
Did you even know Chrita was going to be on there, kind of like as your co-host? Or?
No, Kim.
Wow.
They literally said it was just going to be myself, Chris, and Dylan. That was it. I had no idea until I saw the preview, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I had no idea because we flew to Dallas and they never said anything like that. And then after the show, I reached out to the production company and I asked them, I said to them, I was getting death threats and awful messages after the show. People were writing terrible things. And I said to them, I said, the way you portrayed me was not the way you presented that to me. And then they just kind of tried to sugarcoat it in a, nice but not so fancy way or whatever. Basically saying you knew what you were getting yourself into type thing. But that's just not the way it was presented. Because if it was going to be presented in that way, I would have never agreed to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I see where they were going with it. They were trying to get like the both sides. Is what it looked like to me. Her side being completely different than we've heard her say on many panels.
Yep. And then when they would do the reenactment, they had some girl that supposedly looked like me pretending I'm laughing and licking a letter. That was not me physically doing that.
Yeah, that was not even her, you guys.
That was not me. So please know those blurred out visions of the girl on the bed reading the letter and licking it and doing that was not me. I don't know who that person was.
I also want to say, since it came to my mind talking about this, in the part, Bartwan's backstage, 1 minute, he, when Sherilyn Cato's like, oh, Chris asked me once if I would be comfortable with him babysitting my grandchildren. That never happened. And that stuck out to me as being really weird. I kept telling Mr. Sher, that's weird. I don't think that's weird. But Ronnie, Jamie, and Cindy all say that's not what happened. She actually was telling Chris, I trust you, Chris. I have faith in you, Chris. I would even let you babysit my grandchildren.
And I believe that. And I believe that too. Chris is so soft-spoken, and he is not, from the interactions I've had with him, he is not somebody that would initiate something like that or initiate a major conversation, or he would not say. I would be surprised if he said to me, Christa, I said that to her, I would be surprised. There's no way from the Chris Watts that I spoke to, he would have said that.
No, Cindy said he absolutely didn't. I made a video about it. What she actually said, and I believe that because Chris is way too shy and back in the corner kind of guy. He's not just going to jump out and say, "Hey, can I babysit your grandkid?" I mean, no.
No. And I think that's the last thing he's focusing on right now in his life with everything that's going on. That's not his first goal. Right
Chrissy, we have Bartwan up here. He has a channel also. And
hi.
Hello, Bartwan.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Cher and Chrissy, and also Kim. Love your shows. I'm just saying hi. Yeah, I've been interested in the chat, and I've also was a bit disappointed for Chrissy for how she was maligned and painted into a corner on this whole Manson business, which really is irrelevant.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I do feel for you, but I was just wondering if you were invited to another special, would you put clauses in or something of that nature to ensure that they won't, or get a pre-look at the production before they went ahead?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I asked them if they would be able to show that to Johnny and I before they aired it, and they told us that under contract they couldn't. So I trusted them on that. But moving forward, if anybody were to reach out again, I would definitely, I wouldn't do it. No way. Not even for $1 million. Not after what they did on this
I
Lifetime
had told
one.
Jupiter Entertainment also that I would like to sit down with Rhonda's family and see it before it was put out. And they told us that can't happen.
Yeah. They had Johnny and I sign a lot of disclosure contracts, what you can and can't sue, what you can and can't say. And that's why when we did the documentary in December, I wasn't allowed to talk about it until after the show aired. And I had no idea that it was going to be presented the way it was. If I had known that, I never would have done that.
And I've
never would
seen
have
the
gone.
text messages where Chrissy said, "Oh, like she was talking about what should be in there," and I saw what the person told her back of, "Well, we really got what we needed," and they were like, "Yeah, it was." Chrissy was trying to give them more stuff. They didn't want it, and then they told Chrissy, "Oh, well, we won't need you for this or that either." So definitely, these shows are about making money, right? So they have their narrative and how they want the show to go because of how it's going to sell in their head before they even go and have her do this. So they already knew how they were going to put this together and what it was going to look like. You know, it was just Chrissy that didn't know.
I didn't know. I was so new to it. And when and the reason I went at the time was Dylan was pushing me to go. He's like, "Go push the books, you know, get it out there, get out there about Chris." And that's, you know, I was doing that as well as using the platform to help the Watts family, because I you know, was trying to do both. And then all of a sudden, when everything just backfired and everything just fell on me, oh, I'm making money off of his name. No, I think you're making money off of Chris's name. Then the whole bodyguard thing. Why does she have security? Was she really attacked? What's going on? I mean, it's legit stuff. And then they're calling police departments and hospitals. People aren't gonna, you know, it was just crazy. It just was, I've never seen any of this happen with anybody else before. So I have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, I think, Chrissy, it just highlights just how duplicitous they are, you know, these big productions, and they don't care about the individual. They simply want to just get a narrative that they can just pin on you by like locking you down for 14 hours. And eventually 14 hours of anything that anyone would say could be twisted around, you know, into some sort of, you know, bizarre labeling of you.
Exactly. And I wasn't open-minded to that. Like I wasn't, you know, I didn't see that at the time. I was just so much was happening between the relationship was kind of falling apart, the fighting, my mother's passing, the moving, so much was going on. And then the haters were happening. And I was just kind of, because I still was in shock with finding my mom and all that. So I wasn't in the right frame of mind. Like that's why I said if it were to be now, I would not do it. Absolutely not.
Can I ask, Chrissy, why did they have the prison background for you but had this sort of log file look for Sherilyn?
Yeah, is that interesting? Yeah. In the production studio, they had they even took a picture of me standing inside the cell. They had a cell like on the set. Each room had a different theme. So they had a cell area and they had me in front of the cell because I was talking about, besides, you know, Chris and Dylan's story, I was talking about my dad going from being a Green Beret to a, you know, his issues, incarceration. So they had me in front of the cell, and then they had her in the fireplace in the nice home with the crying tears and all that. Yeah, it was interesting. I'm thankful you noticed that, because I noticed that and I'm saying to myself, okay, why am I in front of the cell?
I think they were trying to make out Cadel was like Agatha Christie or something, you know, like And I didn't know they were set, so I thought they were like green screens or something.
Yeah, no, it was actual set, and each room was different. One of my degrees was, and Kim and Cher and Mr. Cher have it. I do Reiki and I do Karuna Reiki, and they had me actually go into, because they talked to me about being raised Catholic and witchcraft, and they had me go into another room where they lit candles, and I was in a different outfit, and I was doing Reiki, talking about chakras, and they didn't even air that. They just cut. I mean, there's just so much that was cut out. So much.
What did they do? I didn't get a snippet of Dylan. What did they cover with Dylan, and how did they present him?
The only way they were able to, I believe, because at by the time they spoke with Dylan, he and I were already separated. They did speak to him while he was still incarcerated, and he sent them letters that I wrote him and the letter I wrote Chris, and they were able to interview him over the phone. And then he just, you know, threw me under the bus, that I did this against his word and all that, where Kim and Cher and Mr. Cher have the emails and the letters stating of him saying, yeah, do this, make money, do that. So they were just able to do the phone conference while he was incarcerated at the time. Yeah. And they sent me a text message, since they knew by the time the show would air, Dylan and I were no longer together, and whichever. And they asked me 3 questions, and I gave them the answer, and it was supposed to be broadcasted at the end of the show, and they never put it on there. And I questioned them about that, and they couldn't give me an answer for it.
Did they seem when you were dealing with them to be like, did you get a bad vibe at all, or did you just think that they were, what's the word, that there was other people higher up that were manipulating the narrative, if that makes sense?
Yeah, there were some questions that they were asking me that was pushing.
I have something to say about that too, from just reading the screenshots you sent me. I noticed how she was talking. She was kind of talking how you talk.
Right.
Like, hey, love. Like, yeah,
right.
Like she was literally, kind of. I found the text messages to be very manipulative from what I saw. And Chrissy has sent me damn near her whole entire phone and files of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've seen it all.
Kim have everything.
And it was very manipulative what I saw, Barton, for sure. Even trying to like speak like her to kind of draw her in, I guess, a little more, whatever.
Like that mirroring images to get close.
Sort of like, they really like say, basically, we own you.
Yeah, exactly.
And
when they were asking questions, there were questions things that were told to me by, whether it was Chris or Dylan, or things that I knew that they told me, and they were asking questions that I didn't feel comfortable answering, because again, I wasn't there that night. I don't know, what truly happened.
Exactly.
I'm just known what was told to me. And I'm forming my own, allegedly what I feel about it. And I would say, I can't answer that question. I don't feel comfortable giving an answer to that. And they would push and, try to push. And I mean, they had a whole notebook of pages and pages. I mean, I sat there for hours and hours doing it, and in different sessions, taking breaks, going back. It was a lot. I mean, a good 14, 18 hours of filming. It was a lot of filming.
That's intense. I mean, if we did a 14 or 18 hour special on YouTube, we're not going to get it right 100% of the time, and we're going to be really drained.
Right. Mentally. Exactly. I mean, it was tiring. It was a lot. And then there was a lot of repetitive questions, like validity questions, where they were trying to see if you would say something, and exactly, and then see if you said it again, but in a different way. Did you really mean it? So I picked up on that pretty quickly, and I was kind of like, okay, I see where they were going, and and I know, they want to have something juicy, they want something to look good, but
they need it.
Yeah. And I think that my personal opinion is, I think they rather have someone like Cheryl and Cato's view out there, rather than someone like me who's, pro Watts and there for the family and want to help them and help Chris get his truth out. I think people rather see the other side than people like us who support the Watts family.
They'd rather see.
Good night, Tammy. Love you.
Demonize Watts and everything around him.
Exactly.
Than look at a different perspective. In terms of he was really looked like he was suffering. The way he was shaking his leg. I sort of determined that as that pace is probably what his heart rate was, really, to be honest.
Right.
It was probably about over 200. He was
when I ever saw that, and that was the first time he really showed emotion in the courtroom, when they started to talk about Bella when she fought back, and the look on his face, you could tell he was holding the tears back, and he wiped his glasses at one point, and the way he was shaking his leg, I mean, that's not somebody who is a heartless, person that could just do something and be like, okay, that's just, it's not it. I go with my gut feeling, whether it's clinical or whatever you want to call it, but no. And that's where I was like, no, he's
the
not.
way I determine it is he was completely terrified, probably in shock. And
I agree.
And part of the body response is to shoot a lot of cortisol and, through your body. And that shaking is to help get that out of your system, because you've got to release that. So, and plus D.A. Rourke really did try and provoke him, I thought.
Absolutely.
And, he wanted him to go really literally leap out of his chair.
Absolutely. And he stayed composed, but they really were pushing him as much as they could. Yeah, absolutely.
So just a question, Chrissy.
Sure.
Where was the hate coming from? How were they? Because you go on the special. I know that you've been part of AD and that, but where was the hate coming from? How was it getting to you?
I think what happened was when I went on Alan's show and I talked about the books that Chris and Dylan wrote.
Yep.
After that happened is when Daily Mail contacted me, OK Magazine people, the production company. All of a sudden, people are coming to my apartment, and I just recently moved at that time, showing up. And I think once they saw that, and then that conduct report got dropped with the boxers and the Vaseline, and then all of that kind of just resurfaced, and how they tracked me down and got my phone number and my email and my address and found me. I was like, oh my, it all just happened kind of like a bombarded, just like boom, all in one shot. And I'm like, okay, this is not normal. Like, where is this coming from? Because it was nothing I reached out for. The last thing I wanted, especially after losing my mom, it was to be in the spotlight in any way. So it was definitely not something I was seeking out. And that's why I made sure I provided Cher and Kim and Mr. Cher with all the stuff to show that I did not reach out first. Like, that was not my intention at all. And I denied a lot of people. I haven't answered a lot of people back, but it was right after Daily Mail was out, is when everything started just boom, boom. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got enough discernment. And I know, true crime like Cher and Kim, we've got enough discernment to know that, that whole business about Dylan getting the Vaseline and so forth, we knew there was more to it. It was ridiculous how it was being presented, as though there was
right.
I mean, prisoners he didn't have commissary probably. He didn't have all the luxuries.
He didn't, and that was something. And I'll speak truthfully. That was something he did, and he was at the time on a PO hold, and so he was basically just housed there temporarily until he got a court date. And with COVID, it pushed everything back. So he wasn't technically even a prisoner there. He was just kind of being housed there on a PO hold. So he didn't get the same commissary or the same treatment as other inmates would. Therefore, he couldn't have those products and buy the things, and he would have to have the stuff the state gave him. And Chris really was just trying to be a friend and a good person and helping him. And that's the way that Chris is, and that's how his family is. They're nice and generous people. They help each other, and he really was just helping them. They wore a clean pair of brand new boxers. It really, I mean. And they just hyped it up. And how that conduct report got leaked was just, I mean, that's a HIPAA violation right there. Absolutely. And that was something I was fighting for, as to why is this being out there? And and I was trying to fight that. And there was just so much going on. And then everything just got twisted in a whirlwind. But he wasn't allowed to have anything. So... Chris helped him.
See, it was more than just that, wasn't it?
It was coffee. It was coffee, toothpaste, dental floss. I think there was like some granola bars. I mean, it wasn't just lube and boxers. They're saying lube and boxers, Vaseline and boxers. It was like protein bars or protein shake, coffee. Yeah, it was just regular food items that, if anybody's been in a prison,
I go on a
the
limb
food
and
is
say
bad.
anybody who used Vaseline for lube would immediately regret it too.
Yeah. It's probably not
Probably not the best
ridiculous.
first choice we've all taken.
Right?
God, you might as well just use gravel.
Yeah, exactly. Coffee's like gold in prison too.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, if they mention coffee, that would spoil the whole story. But it was a reality, and this is the problem with this is why I like YouTube, because we get to exchange our own opinions without some producer coming down and go, cut that.
Right. Exactly.
And just before I go, so I'll leave it to the rest. Give you guys a break. So I've been sort of hitting you with questions, but
it's okay.
What's next for you, Chrissy? Are you still able to like maybe practice as a, psychologist, or is that door closed?
I still have my credentials. I still have my licensing. I just haven't been practicing because my lupus has been, I've been really sick with my lupus, and I've had a few other health problems. And then once my mom passed, this August will be a year. I just haven't been in the right frame of mind. And our first rule when we graduate is our oath is, do no harm. So right now I don't feel, with my grieving process with my mom and then all this trauma that's going on, I don't feel comfortable at the time to go back into the field. But eventually that is my goal, to go back in the field. And then I would like to become a yoga teacher and open up my yoga studio.
Well, follow your dreams when you're ready. But
Thank you.
I am sorry to hear about your mum. I lost my mum about 8 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it does take time, and I fully understand, because things sort of unraveled for our family a bit, as a group as well. Do you have any brothers or sisters? You just have to say.
Oh, no, I was an only child for 20 years. And then my dad got remarried and had my sister. We're 20 years apart. But after my grandfather passed a few years ago in 2013, my sister stopped speaking with me. So I lost her and that side of the family too. So, I mean, I love my sister. I miss her to death, but I haven't seen her. So
there's also that to deal with. There's sometimes a little bit of fracturing, and look, lupus is that inflammatory disorder that can flare up, can't it? Where you have rashes and stuff, and
the lupus really is. The flare-ups are awful. It's awful. It's an awful. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I truly wouldn't.
I'm not suggesting you ever would, but would you ever do a YouTube channel?
I would think about it. I definitely would. I would probably do it with my fiance, because he's really good with technical stuff and camera work and stuff like that. But I think that would be something.
I was going to tell you, actually, I think you should, because you have a story to tell, and instead of doing it on everyone else's platform, I don't know.
Yeah.
You definitely should. I think I was gonna tell you that the other day, but
thank you guys. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Well, Chrissy, one thing that you are is you're very genuine. I've noticed you're very consistent.
Thank you.
And that means you're being yourself. So I don't expect because you've got a partner engaged, and that's great. And I think that's probably the priority. But down the track, I mean,
thank you.
You definitely would attract a following, because people are interested, and it can be Watts, but who knows? There's a lot of other cases out there. But look, I just want to say thanks. Pleasure to meet you, Kim. Thank you so much for your support, and Mr. and Mrs. Sher. Please support all the channels, and hopefully, Chrissy, Mrs. Sher can bring you on if you are ready to launch, so we can find out more.
Thank you. That would be great. And thank you. It was very nice meeting you. And thank you for being so kind. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, well, look, I'm more than, because I'm very disappointed in how you got treated, and the rough time that you've had.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
All the best, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good one. Oh, he's so sweet.
Yeah, he's one of the good ones.
So
Chrissy,
nice.
my friend Kelly's up here also. She
Hi, Kelly.
Not a fan of Chris West, but that's okay. But she's the one that She won't say this, but I'll say it. She was used and abused.
I got you.
And abused by the other side.
Got you.
Well, hi, Chrissy, and I'm really, really sorry to hear about your mama. And
thank you.
That breaks my heart.
Thank you.
I know it's very hard because I love my mom, so I couldn't never imagine, losing. Thank you. I was eating dinner, and Cher says, "You want to come up?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm eating dinner." And then after a while, you guys are talking. I'm like, "Nah." Because, Cher knows I do not like him whatsoever. I'm the opposite.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to hear from him. So, I'm at that point, but
no, it's okay. And I respect everybody's decision. I don't judge anybody on what they feel or what they choose. I'm not like that at all. At all. I've been judged so much. I can't tell you. I have a list.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what happens. Me too. I'm judged all the time as well. That's what happens when, we put ourselves in front of the public like that. You're always going to get the negative naysayers, the ones that, want to tear people down. And they're very vocal because, they're so loud because the good people don't do stuff like that. So,
right.
It's the people that are screaming and yelling. Now I did not watch that Lifetime thing. Like I said, anything to do with the WATTS. I'm like, I scream.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry though, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you got, you're not happy with how you were portrayed.
Yeah, no, I was portrayed the way I look at it, I was portrayed as like a preteen, obsessed, fan girl. That's the way I look at it. Definitely was not the way it was portrayed to us at all when it was presented to us. Yeah.
Cher, honey, I'm going to have to step down for a minute. The kids just got back from that little festival, and so I'm going to have to step down.
Okay, love you.
Love you, Mama Kim. Love you.
Girl. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome, Bartwan. Thank you.
So, yeah, Chrissy, you're going to get a lot of hate because you put yourself up front, but you have a good heart.
Thank you.
Sound like you're a good person. And
thank you.
Just keep doing the good stuff like you're doing. And,
thank you. That means a lot.
On your engagement.
Thank you. I'm very lucky on that, I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky and excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very exciting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not against the Watts family at all. I don't want people to think that whatsoever, or you to think that.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I do love Shanann's family. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
And I love the kids and Shanann, and although I didn't know them, but that's just love people.
Absolutely.
So to me, CW to me is I don't even want to hear from him.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care what he says. So
I understand.
Forgive me for that.
Oh no, it's okay. I respect everyone's how you feel. Don't worry, it's totally okay.
But there's a difference how you're saying it, and then you look like a tranny, blah blah blah, or whatever. Yeah.
Don't listen to people who talk about your looks because they have nothing else to say.
Thank you. They have been tearing me. They've been tearing me apart looks wise. I've been honest about my lip filler. What kind of coffin they're talking about what kind of coffin I need to be buried in.
Oh yeah, Kelly, it's so bad. I should send you some screenshots. It's horrible.
One person called me a thing. If this thing were to go to jail, would it go to a male or female prison?
Oh my gosh, I get called a thing too.
Yeah, it's like what I'm saying to myself, where do people think of this?
Twins. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's just insane. And I'm very open about my lip filler. And the other thing with my license, people are like, well, where's her, her psychology license? And it's like, what does my degree have to do with why I wrote with Chris? I didn't clinically work with him. So I don't see what that that issue is, but I provided it to Sharon, Mr. Sharon and Kim, so they could see everything. They have all my stuff. I have nothing to hide. I'm one of those people. I'm honest. I have nothing to hide. And if you accept me, that's great. If not, I understand. And but I'm not one of those haters. You have a
very good heart.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please do not let these people get to you, especially talking about your looks. I really, it is what it is. People say that crap all the time. I have problems, looks. People say stuff all the time. All the time. I wake up to stuff every day.
It's awful.
It is. And this is how life is. Nobody wants to be nice. Nobody wants to be respectful, because if we were all in one public area, they would not behave this way.
Right. And that's what my fiance says, that it's cyberbullying. Like if you were face to face, would they say this stuff to you?
No, they would not.
And the majority of the time I would say probably 90% no, they wouldn't. But behind a keyboard and a screen, like he said, everybody has like this power and this, they just say whatever.
Yes.
And it's like, it's crazy. It's just insane. I never in a million years thought getting involved, writing a letter would have come this far and brought it to this level. And people are saying I got arrested for drunk driving, which is not true. Cher, is it okay if I address that?
Absolutely. If you want to, you go ahead.
I have never been arrested in my life. In May, my fiance and I were out walking after dinner. When it comes to children and animals, especially animals, I'm a huge, huge advocate. I cannot stand animal abuse. Somebody was hurting a dog, kicking their dog, beating them. I intervened, and somebody called the police. We were never arrested. We never were in handcuffs. We were never in jail.
It was a noise violation.
It was a breach of peace, like a noise violation. And all I had to do was go to court the next morning, and it was thrown out. So people are saying she was arrested, she's drunk driving, she was in jail, and it wasn't. And I'm sorry, if I see somebody hurting a child or an animal again, I will intervene again. And if I go to jail for it, then I do. But the rumors that come out of something, it's like, if somebody doesn't know the full story, why make such an assumption and then put that out there? And then it just snowballs from one person to another, and it turns into I was drunk driving and in jail for like a week. And it makes no sense.
That just sums up the whole true crime community to a T.
Right?
Not just about insulting people, but just about the information about the cases in general. Like one person says, well, maybe Chris had help, and then all of a sudden, there was 30 people, the in-laws and Santa Claus was in there, for Christ's sake.
Santa Claus did it. No.
I don't trust that fat jolly bastard. Nope.
That's but Mr. Cher, it's everywhere. Christy, I mean, this isn't just true crime. The different communities in YouTube. I have a couple friends outside of the true crime community, and I asked them what's going on. Like, what's that kind of feedback? It's all the same. It's all the same. They're attacking people in the knitting community.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So this, I mean,
oh my God,
COVID has caused people to go absolutely bonkers, and they're attacking everybody. And this is another thing that I just want to point out, and someone had mentioned it to me, there was a young woman, and her name was Lee, and she went on adventures, and she was so sweet, and she did nothing wrong, but she ended up harming herself, and she's no longer with us.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And she was very young and beautiful and sweet and kind, but she was bullied, cyber bullied. And she wasn't even part of the true crime case.
Oh my God.
So these are things that we have to remember if we got to thicken our skin, because if we're going to go out there and put ourselves out there, well, then own your lips, Chrissy.
Right. Thank you.
Be like, yeah, Angelina Jolie, you wish you had them, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I tell my lip filler when I go to Anita. I'm like, Angelina Jolie in the movie Salt, fill 'em, Anita, fill 'em. You know? And I've been honest from the beginning. I'm not going to lie about it. I have no reason to. I just keep it real. That's just how I was raised. And that's where it goes back to the crazy Addams Family upbringing that I loved so much. I think I would be bored if I grew up in a quote unquote normal household. I even said to my fiance tonight, I don't know what it would have been like if I grew up in a normal family. I don't know what my life would have turned out like. So I was raised not to judge, or if I have judgment, leave it at the door. It's not your place to, own up to your stuff, be honest. Don't intentionally hurt people. If you do, apologize and take responsibility and just keep it moving and just be a good person. And that's just what I try to live by. I'm not innocent by any means. I'm not perfect, but I don't intentionally hurt anybody. And if I ever did, I apologize. And I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I can't put my head down and go to sleep at night knowing I would hurt somebody or write a mean comment or